You feel like half of you is missing. The one half is torn between the what ifs, and the other is torn between who are you now. If you want to know who you are after the breakup, stick around to the end of this video. Welcome to the Man Enough to Heal, Whole Enough to Love channel. I'm Russell B. Rogers, relationship recovery coach, and I lived through the pain. And now I'm walking the path of healing, growth, and becoming a man of integrity. Here, we talk real about love, loss, masculinity, accountability, and the journey to becoming whole again. Because when you're man enough to heal, you become whole enough to love. Do you feel like you're confused right now? Do you feel like you're on an island all by yourself in the middle of nothingness with nowhere to go or not a clue as what to do next? You may even feel like a part of you has died. Going from a long-term relationship to being put back into the world of dating can be like a culture shock if not handled properly. Too many times I've seen men go from one long-term relationship straight into another one after the first one is over with. Way too fast. And when you do this too fast without enough space and time in between to actually heal, grow, and reflect, this can not only hurt the you that you are now, but the you that you're going to meet in the future. Now, when this is done incorrectly, what you lose out on is the opportunity to revise and identify your previous actions. You also lose out on the mindset shift that needs to take place in order for you to become the best version of who you really want to be. And on the contrary, when this is done correctly, what you'll notice and what you'll see is an improvement in your mindset, improvement in your habits, your behaviors, even your friend circles. Because what you're allowing is that time in between to heal and actually not only heal the outside of you, but most importantly, heal the inside of you. Because what you see on the outside is a byproduct of what is happening from within. Look, I can bet at some point in your journey in life that you've struggled with knowing just who you are. You felt alone, you felt lonely, and you felt like you had no sense of direction. And that's exactly how I felt. And sometimes that even holds true after you get out of a bad breakup or while you're currently in a relationship. I know that was one of my biggest struggles of navigating the terrain of a relationship and a breakup. But through my experiences, through my healing, through my own journey, I've come up with a solution that I believe today is going to take you to the next level. The Power of You ebook is an ebook that I've created that will help men just like you to uncover the layers of obscurity in your life to identify and pinpoint just who you are. Because if you don't know who you are, you don't know where you're headed. So check this out. I put down the link in the description below. And if you're tired, if you're struggling, if you're not quite sure just who you are, it's time to get your power back. It's time. It's time for you to go to the next level. It's time for you to understand just how valuable you are and the gifts and the talents that you bring to this world. So don't wait. Don't delay. Your future self will thank you. So order yours today. You don't want to wait. You don't want to delay. If you felt alone, if you felt lonely, if you felt like an outcast, or just had questions about just who you are, this is the solution to the problem that you've been searching for weeks, for months, and for years. So order yours today because it's time to take back your power. Being in a relationship is like building a new house. And if you know anything about building a new house on new land, that is an extreme amount of time investment. You have to pick the right location, source the right materials, and pick the right people or person correctly fit for the job. Because you don't need a lot of people. And in this case, all you need is the right person to build that house exactly how you guys want it to be built together. Because you have to understand, when getting into a relationship, you're bridging and bringing together two sets of ideas, two sets of perspective, two sets of habits, and two sets of world experience that you both experienced before you even met each other. And now you're both coming together with the idea or with the goal of building something fresh and new together. And when you're finished building this house or building a relationship with this person, you become now attached or invested in this person because you spend time, effort, energy, and even finances and investing in every asset or facet of that relationship. Because you see, no one goes into a new relationship expecting it to end. When you get into a new relationship, your goal or your idea or your motive is to stick with that person for the long term if you're a long-term individual and you have a long-term perspective or mindset. But as we know it, sometimes relationships just don't work out that way. So now back to using that house analogy, when the relationship ends or the house now needs to be sold because you no longer live there any longer, it's like selling a piece of you because you realize now you put all this time, effort, energy, money, and resources and investment into this house or into this relationship. And when that is no longer a viable option any longer, you lose a piece, or in some cases, you lose all of who you were in that relationship. Now, along with the time, effort, energy, resources, and all the things that you invested into this relationship, there's a psychological shift that your mind has to undergo. Because your mind now has to go from adjusting from building with someone to now building alone. And this is the area that men struggle with the most sometimes, because it can feel downright scary going from known to unknown. Because when you're rebuilding yourself from the ground up after it's over, you now have to train the very DNA of your mind of how you saw this person. Because now you have to go from somebody who you used to be in a relationship with to somebody who you used to know. In order to do that, you have to have true mental discipline and the understanding that in order to grow, you must now let go of what was. Because what was is no longer serving who I want to become. You see, no relationship can thrive. No two people can even build unless they both become the best version of themselves. Because if you can't become the best version of who you are, you'll be good to nobody, especially the person that you're trying to build something with, like a future or even a family if that's what you desire. And in a healthy, thriving relationship, it takes two people becoming the best version of themselves that they can possibly be, so that they can grow and reach destinations they never even seen before. Now, I want to leave you with two questions that I believe is going to help you to jumpstart and implement the process of starting to discover who you truly are now after the breakup. So the first question is, what were the things that you did in a relationship that you were too afraid to admit that you need to improve on to become a better person, not only in the relationship, but in life in general? So my second question would be, before you even got into this relationship, what did you believe accountability meant to you? And now after it's over, after the breakup, what do you now believe accountability means to you now, given the experience that you've gone through with this relationship? Now, I want you to take these two questions into your personal time, into your alone time. Make sure you find somewhere quiet, nice, where you can think, reflect, and not be disturbed. And then I want you to begin to just write. Just start writing down the first thing that comes to your mind. Don't hold back. Don't judge yourself. The very first thing that comes to your mind and comes to your heart, write it down. Because those are the true, raw, and vulnerable feelings that you really, truly feel. And the more real you can get, the more free you can become. And the more clarity you will have on who you want to become. And now you may be saying to yourself, okay, Russ, I understand what accountability is now, but I don't have anybody or anyone to be accountable to. And I also don't have any resources to turn to help me to stay accountable. So I want to leave you with two things. One, I've created a tool, a guide, a resource for men just like you called the Power of You ebook. This ebook is designed for men just like you, who felt the pain, who felt the tear from a long-term relationship and is in dire need of trying to find and rediscover who they truly are after their breakup. So I dropped the link down in the description box below. Check that out, because I believe that is one resource that is going to greatly help you to jumpstart you on the path of discovering who you truly want to be, and to help you understand just who you were. Because if you don't understand who you were, you would never understand where you're headed. And two, you may not just need an accountability partner. You may need a coach, a mentor, or a guide, somebody to help you to dig deep, to peel back the layers and really truly get into the inner workings of just who you really are, to help you to understand where you truly want to go. So I dropped the link down in the description box below. Click that link and schedule a free 30-minute strategy session with me today, and let's connect. Let's see if we're a good fit, and let's see how I can take you from grief to greatness, so that we can walk this walk together, so that we can understand understand where you came from, to then get clarity to understand where you're going. Breakups are hard, especially in the beginning, more specifically the very first 72 hours. And if you want to know some tips to maximize the first 72 hours after a breakup so that you can set yourself up for success in your healing journey, click this video here and I'll see you over there.